So the holidays came and went, and I still didn't get my Neros Q video. Hmm? So in a previous video about Neros Q, I was told that he was going to upload a new video on December 25th, 2018. But since even homicidal reapers take holidays, he didn't upload it. But now we finally got it, so thought I'd take a crack at making a commentary video. I know the commentary community is a bit of a mess. It's really disgraceful. It's just one big game of telephone, he said, she said. But hey, I got dibs on Neros. I made the video. It's only fair. So anyways, let's begin.
What the? Oh, dang.
Oh, he's not using the voice changer anymore. Proud of you, boy.
So, when I'm in the mood to watch a good old game review or turn to some old school video games, one of the shows I like to watch is The Irate Gamer. Yeah, I know what you're thinking.
Ah, defending the irate gamer's honor. Interesting.
I'm getting really annoyed at all these YouTubers who like to bash and complain about the Irate Gamer show. More specifically, this guy, Guru Larry.
Alright, I'm going to skip ahead a bit. He's just kind of talking about Guru Larry's video, just setting things up.
Before we even get to the Irate Gamer, Larry, you don't seem to have a proper representation of yourself. In almost every video, you use this one still image. So what does that even give us to work with? You're a guy that smiles a lot, does lists, and is fat? Don't get mad at me. I have no idea what else you like. I'd much rather know what your personality is.
So his character still doesn't represent him well enough. I mean, heck, compared to your Reaper cosplay, it represents him in spades. I mean, not everyone's character has to represent them one-to-one perfectly. I mean, I'm not some red-skinned punk who goes on crazy adventures with Tony Hawk and fights evil. Nor are you some sort of Grim Reaper figure who murders people on YouTube. And yeah, Larry doesn't have that many character stills, but Larry mentioned in the comments of the video that he didn't want his character to kind of overshadow the subject that he's talking about. And that makes a lot of sense. You know, you don't want to kind of overshadow your subject with a bunch of flashy imagery, which is something you kind of do in your videos a lot. And besides, you can really catch a lot of what Guru Larry's avatar has to say about him. He's really sarcastic and goofy and silly. Not someone you need to take seriously and make decapitation videos about. Oh, and that's just my opinion. Because the number one rule with dealing with Neros Q, you gotta mention it's my opinion, otherwise he's gonna think it's fact, because interdimensional Reaper man logic.
Example I like to use to define a character's personality is this. If a young girl would have fallen over, would your character ignore or help her? Would they tell her to be more careful? Would they ask if she's hurt? What else would they say or do for this girl?
And hey, that's a pretty okay scenario you got there, guy, if you're actually like writing a story-based or narrative character. But the problem with comparing this to Guru Larry's character is, it's not really his character. It's just Guru Larry, it's just who he is. This isn't some elaborate character he's written up. It's not like the Irate Gamer or the AVGN, which are clearly characters. They're not James Rolfe and Chris Bores. They're just personalities. And I know Guru Larry's personality is probably more over the top when he's doing YouTube and live streams than compared to his, just everyday life, but it's not really meant to be a character like your character or my character. It's just a more exaggerated version of Guru Larry. For example, this one podcast that I used to watch years ago, Reckless Media Radio, had this host by the name of Brian Barris, and he was really zany and off the wall. And it was just his own personal zaniness, just dialed up to 11.
Oh, really? I just started addressing my dogs in Indian names. Yeah, so that's a thing. Anyway.
Like Indian Dot or Indian Feather?
Dot, of course.
Why weren't they sitting?
Madel?
I don't know, do kids even listen to radios? Moving on.
Now that that's out of the way, onto the Irate Gamer.
Was he any good? Well, he wasn't the best, let's put it at that.
Personally, I wish you said I think he wasn't the best, as that more easily lets the viewer know it's your opinion and not a fact. And on a side note, to people who put a disclaimer in their videos about their statements being opinions, You know that doesn't make everything you say an opinion, right?
Uh-oh.
Often criticised for his terrible research.
Larry, if you want to talk about terrible research, check that script you wrote. All you showed was an image of him commenting saying that the Sega Master System was made to compete with the NES. That actually is true, you know. It was created as a contender in the 8-bit era against various systems, like the Atari 7800, XE, and the Nintendo Entertainment System. Are you talking about how the Genesis also came out to compete with the NES, which prompted Nintendo to make the Super NES? Cause he's still not wrong. His info might be a bit skewed, but it is correct.
Now, Neros is kind of right, kind of wrong about this. While the Mega Drive was released in 1989, kind of near the end of the original NES's lifespan, the SNES was released a year after the Mega Drive in 1990. And so it would end up competing with the Mega Drive console. But its original purpose was to compete with the NES. Nintendo just ended up retaliating with the SNES. So technically Boris is wrong about this. But he's also kind of right.
Irrelevant references, and hilariously incorrect pronunciations of practically everything that came out of his gob.
Okay, first, anyone can reference whatever they want, as long as it relates to the subject at hand. So let's take a look at that clip you just showed us from the I Rate the 80s episode 10, Color Forms. In this clip, Chris is looking at a 3D Thundercats color form. So how in the world is Snarf popping out not relevant? How about you do some research? Next, incorrect pronunciations? Are you really making an argument that he sucks just because he says words wrong sometimes? If someone says a word or phrase wrong, it's usually by accident. And heck, sometimes there's even a cultural difference, like tomato in the UK and tomato in the US.
Alright, I'll give you the reference, but when it comes to pronouncing words, that's something you have to learn to just get better at, especially if you have like a lisp or an accent. And that comes with practice when making these kinds of videos. And plus, Chris was supposed to be like this big YouTuber at the time. You'd think that he would edit those kinds of mistakes out. Just seems kind of amateur, if you ask me. I mean, I make all sorts of grammatical errors constantly in videos, but that's something you just gotta practice with. You learn not to mispronounce words. And I just did.
And if you do want them to improve, is ridiculing them for it really helping?
I don't know, is getting into epic anime battles with YouTubers necessary?
Case in point, Chris made such a terrible retrospective on the Magnavox Odyssey. It enraged the console's creator, Ralph Baer, to get out of his deathbed to publicly state how ignorant Chris was.
Neros, he's just segueing into another part of the video. Come on, man. You should know this. Now you're just being pedantic at this point. Just trying to grasp at any straw you can possibly get your hands on.
You don't have to insult the man's review, especially since in that email you're showing, Ralph actually asked that no one attack the irate gamer for getting some information wrong. Do you even read what you include in your video?
If you can enrage a man so much that he's prepared to defy the Grim Reaper to proclaim how crap you are, you must be bad.
Wait, Ralph Baer died in 2014. That email doesn't give a year or date. Defy the Grim Reaper? You're not really suggesting he came back from the dead, are you? Doesn't even make sense. Are you joking?
Yes, it's a joke. It's all a joke, man. It's all a joke. No one reading that actually thinks that that was written by the Ralph Baer. Ralph wouldn't type a long wall of text essay about some YouTube creator back then when he was dying. I doubt he even knew who this guy was. Larry was just making a joke. It was a very dry-witted joke. Maybe this was hard for you to tell, Neros, but he was being sarcastic. You just couldn't hear it in his voice because he wasn't like changing his tone. That's just how he does things. Larry's your typical Brit. He has that dry British humor. Chris's videos are just that bad that they would make the creators of these games and consoles just come back from the dead to scrutinize him. That's the joke. Whether you thought it was funny or not is irrelevant.
I don't think that justifies your blatant attempts at disgracing his character. But I won't count this one as a sin, Larry. You had good intentions.
Oh, Neros, this is why we love you. You're just so benevolent.
But Chris's biggest criticism of all was his penchant to making videos almost identical to that of James Rolfe, aka the angry video game nerd.
You know what really ticks me off about this claim? It ignores all the other obvious ripoffs of the AVGN. What about Kid Icarus, Pro Jared, Peanut Butter Gamer, Brutal Moose, Antude, Space Hamster, or even JonTron? Those guys review both old and new video games, and can express extreme emotions towards said games.
Now, while these guys were inspired by James Rolfe, I'll give you that, I don't think they took it as far as Chris did, which you mentioned later in the vid that people have made comparison videos of James and Chris's reviewing styles, but more on that later.
Did you even look to see if the Irate Gamer had reasons for copying the AVGN? Let's look at that video, the definitive IG AVGN Plagiarism Compendium. It lists some phrases that the Irate Gamer took from AVGN.
Also, when did he ever wear that sleeveless black shirt? Oh look, black sleeveless shirt. Shouldn't this be red?
I'm not sure that's really plagiarism, as they're not too specific of points. And any fan of Back to the Future would easily notice that this character doesn't look a thing like Marty, and that all this random clutter was never in the movie.
While it is a fair point on paper, a lot of his lines seem like they're just ripped verbatim from James's script.
By this time is a breath of fresh air to see something different.
It's nice and refreshing to see a change of scenery after 4 levels of the exact same stuff.
I wish I could go back in time to prevent this game from being made.
This game is so bad, I wish I could just go back in time and stop it from ever being created.
Cowabunga. Cow a fucking piece of dog shit.
What a piece of cowabunga shit!
What a shitload of fuck.
What a shitload of fuck!
What a shitload of fuck.
What a shitload of fuck!
What a shitload of fuck.
In fact, in some of those older videos, Chris actually went back and edited out the shitload of fuck. And while some of these could be written off as coincidental, I feel like a lot of them are just plagiarized, but I don't know. You guys be the judges.
But ignoring that, how about we find out why the Irate Gamer series even started in the first place?
Well, yeah, of course it was. I mean, I had 200 subscribers. I didn't take this thing seriously.
So he's saying the first few episodes of the Irate Gamer was made just for entertainment, not to make money or to get famous? I guess I can believe that. I mean, what's wrong with making a show for fun? And in regards to the similar phrases,
Over that summer, and you'll even see on the videos, that a lot of my videos were just, quickly banged out that summer. And I submitted all these into that Out Nerd the Nerd contest. And, of course, I used some of his, I should say a lot of his personality traits and whatnot, and threw those into the video to out-nerd him, basically.
those early episodes you're talking about are either not meant to be original or they're actually parodying the AVGN. If he wasn't making money or trying to get famous, then I don't think there's anything wrong with that. You know, Larry, this kind of misinformation you're supplying makes you look more ignorant than what you claim the Irate Gamer is.
Alright, let me set some things straight. No, there's nothing wrong with just wanting to make vids for fun, just to blow off steam or for whatever reason. I mean, yeah, it's kind of an excuse to say, oh, well, you rushed them, so of course they're going to be bad. That's whatever, too. But the issue is, after he finished doing the Out Nerd the Nerd contest, he continued with this style. The problem is he continued with this style long after the contest had ended. You'd think that he would develop a new style rather than just doing the same angry reviewer stick. I know it was very popular, but even some of the other low-tier reviewers at that time, yes, they were angry, but they also tried to expand out and do different things. Like Armake21 had his context-sensitive videos where he would try to talk about games that weren't necessarily bad but had problems with them but were still good. Or heck, just do regular reviews talking about good games like the Happy Video Game Nerd did. That's why he won the contest. He tried something different. He basically took the idea of doing angry game reviews and just inversed it, flipped it on his head, and did these like just really happy over the top reviews. And yeah, when Chris ever tried to break outside of that shell and try something different, like his I Rate the 80s series, where he would talk about like just random nostalgic stuff, that wasn't really that good, in my opinion, of course. I'm just saying, in my opinion. But his viewership only really increased when he was hopping onto the angry game reviewer bandwagon.
So, with all this in hand, how did the irate gamer become so popular back then? Well, to simply put it, it was indirectly because of the angry video game nerd. YouTube saw how popular James Rolfe was becoming on the site, but their biggest issue with him was his rather colourful choice of language. Sounding familiar, eh?
Wait, you're saying that they wanted to feature Angry Video Game Nerd, but since his show had colorful language, they couldn't, but they chose Irate Gamer to feature because he also had colorful language? That doesn't even make sense!
So, they went looking for a less sweary, more family-friendly alternative.
So now you're saying he doesn't have colorful language?
Alright, well, I got nothing really to refute against this. I'm not sure if Chris maybe edited some of his videos to have less swear words, because I know that he went back and edited out the shitloads of fucks and replaced them with what a piece of shit. So I'm not sure if he actually cleaned up his videos in the process of doing all that.
And less sweary was literally YouTube's choice of words too.
What? Sir Edwin YouTube? Founder of YouTube.com? This quote is a blatant lie! Who the frick is Sir Edwin YouTube? The founders of YouTube were Chad Hurley, Jared Karam, and Steve Chen! Larry, you literally made up fake evidence to back up your paper-thin claim?
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Neros, buddy. It was a joke.
And don't try and say it was a joke. There was no indication that he wasn't serious about that.
I'm not trying to be mean or anything, but I think this guy's somewhere on the autism spectrum. I mean, I'm kind of on there too. But what does he need, like a sign that flashes on the screen that says, "Oh, it's a joke, it's a joke. It's not real, it's just a funny joke." Like, does he have to be like those old prank channels back in the day? It's just a prank, bro? No indication of a joke. The fact that he had this like black and white actor making a goofy face as the representative of YouTube, that's a joke enough. But yeah, that was pretty much the video. He just rants, he goes into his crazy edgelord mode, kills our beautiful boy Larry. And then, oh, he has this emotional scene. He didn't mean to kill him. He has this dark evil power inside. Then he calls over Zeros and tells him to go patch up Larry. You know what, when I woke up this morning, I didn't think that I'd be talking about the irate gamer in 2019. You think in the new year, the current year, that we would have just been past all of that. But no, I guess nothing truly dies on the internet. Now, of course, I have to say I have no problems with either Neros or the irate gamer. I just think that this is just tired and you just need to put an end to this discussion. And of course, Neros is still at his usual self, his edgy self. I mean, his points are just nonsensical and pedantic, but his animation is spot on. I mean, dude, you need to go onto like Freelancer or one of those websites where you can like just, you know, put yourself out there, sell your craft. That's what you should focus on, not making these pointless commentary videos. I mean, just wait until your father hears about this. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed this new video on the new year. I know it wasn't the best edited. I just kind of, you know, slapped it together. I didn't really feel the need to put much effort into this because Neros didn't want to put much effort into his video. So, whatever. I will see you guys later, possibly. I don't know. I'm starting to feel really depressed now in the current year. I mean, first this and now Outlaw Harvest left. So just a big shout out for him. You know, the guy's been on my channel for so long. And I know a lot of people don't really consider friends to be real friends, but he was kind of like family to me in a weird way. But anyways, I hope you have a happy new year, and I will see you guys in the future.